I think.
Is there a camera?
No, he said that we need to set up a tripod, but
Yeah.
I think recording can
future.
come later. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right.
Ready to start?
I am ready.
Yeah,
Are you guys ready?
lead it. Yeah.
All right.
I'm excited.
Let's go. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our very first episode of A-Pod, a podcast for Alpha Phi Omega.
My name's Andrew.
And my name is Josh. And it won't be just us two. We will have our own special guests every week. But who would they be? All right. Before we get into the juicy stuff, we got to introduce ourselves. You don't even know who we are. I'm Josh. Like I said, I pledged Fall 2024 Alpha Iota. And I'm a third-year entrepreneurship major. And a fun fact about me would be, I think I'm a good singer.
Okay. And I'm Andrew. I also pledged Fall 2024 Alpha Iota. I'm a first-year marine biology major, and a fun fact is I'm double-jointed and everything.
All right, today we have a special guest, and that would be a person from Student 2024 Alpha Theta class. And what was your...
I was Alpha Eta Fall 23.
All right, so this person is, well, the most important person is a double major in mechanical engineering and political science, and he's also minoring in business management. That's pretty studious, not gonna lie. So on top of that, he is our current chapter president. So could I get a drum roll for Mr. Coy Lee?
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
And then the less important, I
I see.
well, the other person that spontaneously joined us is our Sergeant at Arms, Anthony Doe.
Hey guys.
Okay, so we'll start off with Coy. Can you please tell us about your experience pledging and being active for APO, as well as what is your best cardinal principle that you align with?
That's a good question. So I joined APO in spring 24 because during the fall I had gotten out of a 3-year-long relationship, and I was in this downside of my life where I just didn't know what to do. I was doom scrolling quite a bit, and then I spontaneously went to New York for 48 hours just because I saw a TikTok about couples being in New York during Christmas time. So I went there. I was being spontaneous. I was like, I love this feeling. Let me do something that's out of character. Let's join a frat. And I looked into it and I was like, all these frat stuff doesn't really make sense to me. I want real brothers. I don't want to be, doing all these things that just to get accepted into this group. So when I found APO, I was like, oh, it's co-ed, all majors accepted, no hazing, love it, let me join it. And immediately it was very inviting. Pledging was amazing. It was a small group of 5. It was raining a lot during rush, so not a lot of people showed up. But I kept showing up and people were super excited, met some great people, and pledging was amazing. Regarding cardinal principles, I think leadership stands out the most to me. That is why I do these credit card workshops for the fraternity and why I stepped up as prez. I think it's a good cardinal principle for me.
Honestly, yeah, those credit card workshops do help.
I remember I couldn't go to the 201. I got so fucking sad.
I feel that.
Like everyone else got to go to 201.
You can't travel for free now.
Yeah, those credit card points would help. What about you, Anthony? Following up the question to you as well, tell us about yourself and your experience pledging and being active for APO, and what is the best cardinal principle that aligns with you?
Reason I joined APO was because I felt like it would be a challenge for myself, because I felt I was a very timid person. So if you were to put me in a group of a lot of people, I'd probably break down and just want to go home. So I took APO as like a stepping stone to help me overcome my timidness. And through the semesters I've been through it, I've constantly taken up more positions, such as PT committee, service vice president and now sergeant at arms. And I felt that it helped me bring me out of my comfort zone by constantly having to engage with others. And I felt like I become more comfortable with others. That was the main reason why I joined APO. Yeah. And like the cardinal principle I would stand for most would probably be leadership, because I consider personal growth part of leadership.
I mean, I do feel that starting off APO, I'm like, because when I first transferred here, it was like I had friends, but our schedules didn't necessarily align. And I just wanted like people that I could come talk to, like see practically every day, even if our schedule's like somewhat off. And I'm like, I have friends now, guys.
Yeah,
All right.
Same for me. When I got here, I didn't have friends. It was bad because like I remember walking back to my dorm and then someone told me, "Hey man, you need friends."
Oh,
What the?
who told you that?
Hillary.
I did hear that. I hear
Classic.
Well, I was like, "Damn, she's right."
She a real one.
Yeah,
that. She a real one for though.
she is a real one, and that pushed me to strive and put myself in uncomfortable situations to make myself comfortable with the uncomfortable. And because of that, joined APO, and look at us now. We're doing good, made lots of friends, a lot of connections, and since Josh and I are still new to APO, but you guys are holding higher positions,
APO
more
older.
experience, I want to ask, is APO where you want it to be right now?
I'll start with that. Definitely coming towards what I expected APO to be. I think when I first joined, it was lacking quite a bit. The numbers were really low. People were only going to events for credit, and there wasn't that much energy. It was there, but not really. It was dying for sure. And during nominations and stuff like that, people wouldn't run for anything. They had to like really convince each other to just raise their hand and run for something. So that's a big shift from what we currently have now, which is like people are gonna accept these nominations and each position has like at least 3 people, so they're gonna be fighting each other for these positions, you know. So there's more energy for sure. People are just a lot nicer. So we're going towards what I want APO to be, which is a bigger group of people where we just do community service together. And I also have that dream of doing a midpoint yacht formal. So we're gonna get there.
A yacht formal?
Like
That's
yacht form. Oh,
That's like,
Is that in our budget?
yeah, is that
Hell no.
I'm gonna make it in our budget, bro.
hell no!
Wouldn't we need like a bigger pledge class for that?
Heck yeah.
Or your dues get raised to the.
Our dues will get raised to that. If it's like,
It's
if
coming.
he decides to make
Inflation?
it like a higher, like, if he decides to make a yacht formal, that means, oh god,
$500 dues.
that's like,
It's worth it, guys. It's
honestly,
worth
it's
it.
worth it.
Please go up 500. I'm going associate.
You can't. You
As
have
long
2
as we
full
don't-
semesters.
But like on the off tangent,
I can.
On the tangent, like, would you guys buy a house? Like, you know, like we see like houses like just with Greek letters. In the far future, do you think APO would have a house, or like that doesn't necessarily apply to us because we're not necessarily Greek life. We are like considered student organization. So like, would we have a house?
Me personally, I don't see a point in the house because
Just
you
to
know
host
the,
GPs.
Oh.
yeah. So I think with that money that could have been used on a house, we could use on other things such as formals or give it to others in like community. So I think a house wouldn't be in our future, but I think building a solid foundation now with actives and getting better alumni that are more active as well. We'll get donations in the future because I'm striving for us to be a nonprofit. With those donations, alumni can write off their, salaries, which we will take to give back to the community. And that's how I see APO.
Honestly, it does sound like a good idea. Except the writing off their salaries part.
Well, that's
It's like a charity. That
Yeah,
It's a charity,
It's like just a small
you know,
donation
yeah,
or
'cause,
something. You
I
don't
mean-
have to donate like $1,000 to them.
Because when you think about other fraternities and sororities, their alumni write off their, they give a donation to them so that they can spend on the house
That
and
is true.
other things that just aren't very impactful for society. So if we were to take that same amount of money, we could give back.
Honestly, yeah. Well, moving off to the next question. As our current chapter president, why did you decide to run for it? Especially like you've only been inactive for like one semester. Jumping the gun straight from historian to chapter president, that's like a really big jump. So why did you run for it? And while being president, leaning off Andrew's question, but being more specific, did you envision the APO you wanted?
So, like I said earlier, in previous semesters, the energy just was kind of lacking. So when nominations were happening last semester, not a lot of people were nobody was running really for president. So during third rounds of elections, no one had gotten president yet. So I thought to myself, well, there are only two options now: be inactive next semester and suffer with this, org that isn't being led correctly, or step up and take this risk of being president and shoot for this vision I have of APO. So I stepped up, and I'm currently pushing towards it. You notice GBMs are a lot faster. EBMs are a lot faster as well. Things are just more efficient. People are a lot happier. Pledge classes are bigger. It's not
That is
5
true. Yeah.
like my class. So yeah, I think I'm doing okay for my first semester as president. And if I continue on, I'll push for more.
Does that mean you're gonna run next semester?
Possibly.
You did get nominated. So
yes,
hopefully.
I'm the only one running right now, so
I don't even think we could run.
No,
you
you guys
cannot
don't
run.
qualify.
Yeah. And that also applies to you. Why did you run for Sergeant at Arms? And did you envision, did you help Coy in that sense to, create the APO he wanted?
So, for why I ran for the position, I mentioned earlier, it was for my own personal growth because I felt like it was challenging with open forums that I had to host because I had to be in front of people and talk and try to present my slides, which is also for GBMs. But I also had to like a disciplinary at times. There was one instance that happened, but that was the main reason why I chose to do SAA. As for helping Coy with his vision, there wasn't much for me to do because honestly, he just reorganized EBM in a way that made it more efficient, so there was no need for me to do much. So he made a hot list so everyone can write what they want to do and they can focus that. And then he shortened GBMs by making it so we just focus on group activities rather than just summarize everything we're doing. So we just get in contact with the respective member officers that we need to talk to, but not discuss that at EBMs, just so it goes by much faster. Because we can just have those conversations outside of EBMs. Yeah.
That's honestly good.
I'm taking away his job.
You're taking away his job.
What do you mean?
No, he's
I've
great
done
right now.
everything correct. I helped you with the election.
Yeah,
I was annoyed.
Anthony's good. He's like a little Google next to my hip.
He is.
Whatever question I have, I'm like, Anthony, whoa, what's the answer to this? And he's like, I know
"Oh."
the answer.
He's a good vice president.
Good vice.
Group vice president.
I mean, essentially, he is. Everybody, all the e-board positions are labeled vice president, but I feel like Sergeant at Arms is specifically closer to president
Yeah,
himself.
Yeah.
he is the true vice president.
So I'm part of his committee.
But isn't e-board his entire committee though?
I guess, but our programs are much different. So.
Honestly, that's fair. I could see that.
A committee within a committee.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. Well,
What?
so this is the last part of this segment. Regarding APO, do you have any words of advice for people who are considering our fraternity, or anything to tell the general public who's what's APO, about just why should they join it, and just pushing them to pull them into our fraternity instead of joining
Yeah.
the other ones.
The other one's crazy.
It's simple. When I table or flyer, I always have the same spiel. I always start off with the same line. So connections is everything, right? And they'll always say yes, of course, because connections is everything as much as you want to disagree with it or whatever. But connections is everything. And I say, so people join these Greek organizations because of connections. They want to get a job at Google later because an alumni works there or something like that. So I'm saying what separates APO is that you get all the benefits of these fraternities without the downsides. So you get all the brotherhood, you get all the connections, you get everything without the downsides, which is kind of nice. It's less commitment, and there's still commitment, but it's a little less. You're more respected as a person. You're seen, you're heard, and you just get all the benefits, which is great.
That's true.
I really
And
like that part.
yeah, it's also like a lot more affordable. In
Oh yeah,
comparison.
it's
Yeah.
the cheapest one.
Because like
Anybody
in
listening to
person,
this? Oh my god, you guys like I don't know why you're like no like nothing down on like people who are like spending like over like $500 to be part of something, but like
I think it's closer to 1,000.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Pretty sure.
does that make things better?
no.
But like APO is so affordable. Like even if you don't have a job and you're just living off financial aid, you could use that part of that to join APO. And like Koi said, you don't have to go through everything like that they do. And like you practically get the same thing, and it's like not major specific. Like if you're like a kines major, we have kines majors. Like even theater, we have theater
Yeah, we have
majors.
theater.
everyone.
Now then.
We have marine biology right here.
There's
I'm the only one.
biology.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever
Actually,
major you are.
There's a pledge that's marine biology.
Oh,
That is true.
that's pretty cool.
That's true.
Talking about the other
There's two now.
Andrew.
There's two now.
There's Andrew, I think. So that is our fair share of our APO segment.
And like what APO is.
So some people have asked us, how do we balance APO, schoolwork, and personal life? And like, how would you tell someone that? Like even a pledge, or just if you just walk up to a random student, they're having a bad day and you're like, hey, what's wrong? And they're like, time management. How would you like give advice to them?
I would definitely tell them, I'd ask them what their priorities are. Is it going to school? Is it making friends? What is it that you care about? And if you're lacking in that, you start prioritizing it. Like, for example, some people, let's say, are burnt out in school. And so I'll just tell them to back off school a little bit and do something else, like hang out with your friends. But definitely Google Calendar. I mean, everyone in APO says it. Open up your Google
That
Calendar.
helps so much.
Balance it out on Google Calendar. If you see that most of your thing is school and not that much APO or hang out social life, balance it out.
What about you, Sergeant at Arms?
What was the question again?
What kind of word of advice would you give to a person in order to balance out like APO, school, work, and personal life?
It comes down to what you want. Like what Koi said, priorities. Like you gotta decide what you really want. If like school's what you want, then you should prioritize that. If APO is what you want, prioritize that. If it's just your personal life, prioritize that. So I would say like try to find a middle ground. Like if you want to do all three of those, like find what you want, like percentage wise. Like you want 60% of personal life, 30% APO, and 10% academics. All right, balance that. Just like make sure you pass your classes. You don't have to go for an A, like upper division. You just need a
Get
D.
degrees.
Yeah, you know, not just C's. Upper divisions, you just need a D minus apparently.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, to pass.
That's BS. I
See?
got a D on my upper division class and I didn't pass.
Dang.
Oh,
So sad.
it just depends on the person, but usually it's like a D is passing. But yeah, it just depends on like what your goal is in life. You want to go grad school, probably should prioritize academics. You want to get a job outside, prioritize like socializing. And you just want to like rest a little, prioritize your personal life. Really depends on what you want.
Have you guys struggled with that Or like you guys already had that initial part of you like, oh, I'm good at time management already.
I've always been pretty good with time management ever since I was a kid. Like, I've been pretty independent my whole life. My mom would always tell me, like, as a kid, I'd wake up at the right time and get ready for school without her telling me. But in college, I've been pretty, I've been doing pretty well. I guess what's like hard right now is balancing president and school. President isn't too bad, but the mental drainage that you get from being president is huge because the whole org is on your shoulders almost. So it's really heavy and it feels like one wrong step and the whole org goes down, kind of. But I'm trying to balance that a little bit by, socializing a little more. So
Honestly, that actually, yeah, I would say I'm like the opposite of that. Like I was really good with time management as a kid, but now, like even with Google Calendar, sometimes I'm like, oh shit, I have like other stuff to do, but I forgot to put it on my Google Calendar. Like when I was a kid, I would be on top of everything, but then I feel like it's not, I was gonna say generational burnout, but it was more like over time I'm starting to burn out and realize like it's like the opposite. Like I worked really hard like as a kid, but when I finally became an adult, I started becoming a kid and enjoy like life for what it is, even though it should kind of be the other way around.
Yeah, and because of that, I would say the same. As a kid, I was on top of my stuff from like K through 8, but then once high school started rolling around, that's when I started getting lazy. I wouldn't wake up until 15 minutes before school started, and then I would drive, and if there's traffic, there's traffic. But with that in mind, I still do that kind of in college because I live at South Campus, so all the classes are close to me. So I don't leave until like 10 minutes before my class, even if that's storm hall.
oh my.
But I make it on time sometimes, give or take.
What about you, Anthony?
For me, I am a heavy procrastinator since
I feel you.
early childhood to now.
So much.
It's just because I'm so used to being able to cram and do well the next day, even if there's like a midterm the next day, 2 midterms or projects due. Because I'm just so used to like being able to cram and just do it all in one day. So I just built a habit of that.
Built different.
Yeah, honestly,
for
it is
real.
both different.
But
And
if
still
I-
pass it too. Oh my god.
But if I want to space it, I think I would need like motivation to like why I want to like pass that class, so then I start spacing things out. Otherwise, last minute.
Last one. Oh god. That honestly reminds me I probably should do some projects before spring break. Oh,
It's been a good time to catch up on your assignments. So
there's too much.
Moving on, we talked a lot about APO, but we never got a chance to actually talk to you two like outside of APO. So, where are you guys from? Because I know Riverside. Anthony, where are you from?
I'm a local. I'm from San Diego.
So yeah, what were your upbringings like? How was your childhood, teenage years, and how was everything before APO?
Yeah, so I was originally born in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. It was an interesting childhood. My mom, I don't think, she still says it to this day. She wasn't ready to have kids, but she did anyways because, Vietnam, the culture is a little different.
Right.
You're getting old, you're in your late 20s, you should have kids. But, it's not
did.
that old. So she had me at an age where she wasn't really ready. And 28 days after I was born, she went to Australia to travel. And she did that throughout my whole childhood, just traveling as I was a kid. So growing up, I didn't really see my mom often. So I had maids. In Vietnam, it's common to have 24/7 maids in your home. So I had maids who would cook for me and clean and essentially take care of me. But they do get rotated every year. So as a kid, I'd cry a lot because, they're like my mother figures and they got taken away. And But yeah, growing up, I went to private schools, international schools. My mom worked in the school business. Like, I wasn't a rich kid. I was well off, but not like, you know, these kids that go.
Like
I went
crazy
to
rich Asian.
Yeah, like the kids I went to school with, they were crazy rich Asians because they would pull up in Lambos and Rolls Royce.
Damn.
Tuition was like around 20K a year, and this is elementary school.
You
So-
had to pay for elementary school?
Well, this was private, so it
Oh, yeah,
was
that's
essentially
true.
like a feeder school to top Vietnamese universities. And essentially, if you went to these schools, you're like guaranteed a good job after. But I went to these schools. It was pretty good. I loved it a lot.
Do you have to wear a uniform?
Yeah, we had uniforms. And like I remember during lunches, we would get this calendar for the week with a menu for each day. And we just pick whatever we want to eat for that day. And the people would remember us. So now the next day when we go into the cafeteria and just sit down, they're like, oh, Koi checked off that he wants Vietnamese fried rice. We'll bring it to him. And I just sit down and the food just comes in front of me.
Oh, that's so cute though.
Yeah, so it's super cool. I loved private school. And then when I went to America, it was a little tough because I didn't know I had an accent. In Vietnam, I was considered one of the top for English speakers, essentially. But here, it's just different. Like the culture is very different. The humor is extremely difficult to understand. Sarcasm, like we don't have that in Vietnam. So when I would talk to these kids during recess, they would always go, "What? What are you saying?" So that, you can imagine 9-year-old me going like, "Oh man, no one understands me. Why? I don't get it." But eventually, I learned English. Did a little band, you know, high school, played some volleyball, did some more music stuff, try hard, grinded in some AP classes and college courses, went to Harvard for math at one point.
You're being dead ass?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that story is I just did all the high school math when I was 15, 16. So that's up to Calc BC, and I was like, oh, teacher, what's next? Like, I did all the math classes.
What's next?
I was like, what's next? And he was like, oh, you got to go to community college and do these other math classes called Calc 3, differential equations, and linear algebra. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll do that. And so when I was 16, 17, I did concurrent enrollment at a community college. Finished all that my junior year of high school.
Damn.
And I was like, well, what now? Because I finished all the math at community college. And he was like, well, I guess you got to go to an undergrad of some sort and take this next class called discrete mathematics. And I was like, wouldn't it be funny if I went to the top university ever?
That would
So
be funny.
So I
That would be
applied to
fucking funny.
Harvard's summer school, got in, and took that class.
That's crazy.
And I did that before my senior year of high school.
All the junior?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a big brain.
That's fucking crazy.
I did that. Then applied to some colleges. No safeties. I mean, my safety were the UCs. I was pretty cracked.
That's a
In.
fucking flex.
No.
Yes, UC is crazy.
Well, I
Then why
mean,
SDSU?
I'll tell
Okay.
you. So I applied to mostly Ivies, privates, and my UCs were my backups because looking at the stats, if you think about it, I did varsity volleyball 4 years, band, orchestra 4 years. I was a leader. I was captain, drum major, whatever. You know, academics were cracked. I graduated with double the amount of credits than everybody, so I should have gotten like 2 diplomas. So I was like, oh, I can totally get into UCR, UCI. Like, that's not that difficult with the stats I have. Essays were fire. I had some, you know, some trauma in there, sprinkled a little bit in there. Some
That's
I
how
had
you
work
get-
experience in
Yeah.
engineering. I had 2 internships. So when I applied, I was like, okay, UCs, I should get in. Like as a California student, I should get into these schools. So I applied, got rejected everywhere.
Really?
Everywhere. UCI, UCR, LA, Berkeley, San Diego, and then all my privates. I got close to MIT. I had interviews and stuff like that, but rejected.
What?
So I was like, oh, well, I got to go to community college now because no one took me in. And so I went to community college for 1 year, grinded through all my GEs in 1 year, and applied to the same schools again, plus SDSU. Rejected everywhere but SDSU. So I was like, well,
That's fucking crazy.
No, that's
I was
really
like, all right,
interesting.
I'll go to SDSU then.
You're like the definition of having like 20 plus years at the age of like 15. Like, it doesn't make sense. But the fact that they didn't allow you in is. Did they give a valid reason why they weren't accepted?
No, I was just so salty. I was like, screw you guys. I don't care about your school. But I did work for this attorney, and she told me, she was like, Koi, if you're meant to be successful, whatever that means to you, the school does not matter. You'll get there.
Yeah, that's good.
So when I got denied at all these schools, I was like, yeah, if I'm meant for it, I'll get there. So
No, yeah, I would be salty as hell if you're like, wait, that's so
yeah,
interesting.
so this was my backup SDSU.
Triple
I
backup.
was like, I don't really want SCSU, but like, if it's the only thing I said, then I get
It was the only one that took me in, so.
What the fuck?
So now I'm like chilling here in college. I came in as a mechanical engineering, and I looked at my whole transcript thingy, and I was like, oh, if I only do one major, I'd be a part-time student, because I wiped everything out in high school and college, community college already. So I was like, let me double up, add something just to be a full-time student. So I picked an easy major that would go for law, and poli-sci made sense.
And then you just like, oh, this is low-key boring, or like, this is too easy, I'm gonna throw in a minor as well.
Yeah,
And, like,
let me throw in a minor.
Two minors.
honestly, I respect that. Like, your plate is like, because I spoke to Alyssa Wong, and she like uses the idea of like plates, right, as your form of like time management and stuff like that. My plate is like, I thought my plate is like big enough, but then yours is like the entire table.
Thanksgiving.
It's a mukbang, bro.
Yours is a mukbang. Like, I applaud you for that. Actually,
Thank you.
Damn. What about you, Anthony? After hearing Koi's story, who is Anthony Doe?
My child is not as impressive as Koi. I would say I had a pretty ordinary childhood. Growing up, I was pretty energetic, so I was constantly hurting myself. So literally, my first major accident happened when I was in kindergarten. I crashed into a fence and like had to get stitches.
Ooh.
And then like a few years later, I kind of fell off the playground. I
You
was
fell off?
okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I kind of just fell off. Like, oh, whoopsie. And yeah,
Whoopsie.
it was pretty energetic. But going into middle school, I became a little more timid because I left it. I was originally from a different school district than the one from my middle school and high school. It was the district that was actually outside of my city. So Lemon Grove district was the one I attended for elementary. But for middle school and high school, I went to the San Diego Unified District, which was actually in my city, despite me living like on the borderline of Lemon Grove, like 2 miles away from the Lemon Grove district. That was pretty funny. And then, yeah, middle school, I just went through it. It was a little lonely at the start because I was like by myself because all my friends went to Lemon Grove Academy. But I eventually got the hang of it. It's just little by little. Yeah. Then high school, yeah, nothing out of the ordinary.
Were you a tryhard? Did you do like APs? And
Oh, we're talking about my
Any
academics in high
extracurriculars?
school.
Do all
Yeah, were
the
you
AP
cla-
classes.
All right. So I'll start from sophomore. That's when I actually got serious.
Oh,
Okay.
you rolled up the
So-
sleeves.
For sophomore, it was an interesting year for me because I had a zero period PE, so I'd be waking up at 5 a.m. to get ready and get to school so I can start my 6 a.m. PE class.
Yikes.
Problem is, after that, I had my AP bio class. So I just fell asleep.
Oh,
I
great.
literally fell asleep in my
Pretty
bio
pass the
class.
test.
Wait,
at least.
AP Bio is a sophomore?
Yeah.
Crack,
he's
he's crack.
And then there was
Yeah.
AP World History later in the day around like lunchtime. But after like eating, I kind of got like tired
food
already.
coma.
Yeah,
Food
and I
coma,
slept
food
in that
coma.
class too. So that year was pretty interesting because I barely passed those AP exams.
At least you passed.
Yeah.
3 is a pass.
And then there was my math class. It was like a normal math class, except I was changing teachers left and right. So I had 3 to 4 different teachers until I finally settled for the original teacher I was supposed to have later in the semester. But due to like the changing different syllabuses, I ended on my first semester for sophomore year with like a C or a D for math.
That's not really your fault though.
Yeah. Wish you would understand that. But it is what it is. And then like some family issues happened in the second half of sophomore. I had a family member that passed away, so that was fun doing the AP exam while that was happening. Yeah, sophomore was interesting, but it didn't discourage me. So junior year, I took even more AP classes.
There you go.
I think I had like 2/3 of my class AP.
Yep.
Yeah, I managed to pass all those classes, so I was pretty satisfied. And then came high school, AP, and then I took community college classes as part of my curriculum because they offered it at my high school.
He's cracked
Dual
too.
enrollment.
It's cracked.
Yeah, it went up to like Cal 2. But then after that, I applied for schools. I mainly went for like local schools like UC and SDSU. I managed to get to SDSU, and then I got waitlisted for UCSD. I wanted to go to UCSD because I had a friend that was going there. So I took the chance and just hoped for the waitlist. Of course, I didn't get in, so I went to community.
Oh.
Yeah, and then for my community college, it was pretty hectic at the beginning since I just did all math classes. So like, cool, I finished all my math classes my first semester in community college. So I didn't have anything to do for math after that, so I just did GEs. For me, community college took about 3 years just because I was like doing both the requirements for SSU as a backup and then aiming for UCSD. When I finished all that, UCSD still waitlisted me. Like, okay, I'm gonna move on now. I just want to finish college now, so I went to SDSU.
Yeah, these UCs, man.
These things are very strict for some god awful
Yeah.
reason. I didn't even apply to them, but like I knew like the struggle because I've had friends who like had like 4 point something or higher, and like they passed their SAT, like they met the requirement for SATs at the time, and they still didn't make it. I'm like, what? But then someone else has like like a lower GPA and like barely touched the SAT requirement but made it in. I'm like, what's
Yeah.
the difference?
Yeah, I saw a lot of that in high school when I would talk to my friends. I'm like, "Oh, you got into college?" And they would have like lower stats, but you know, they would tell me where they got into it. I'm like, "Dang, they got into these schools and I didn't." Foul.
Honestly, it's foul. I feel like they just like, you need more money or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or like you have to meet like a hidden requirement that they had or something.
I think I know one of their hidden requirements. So, I don't know what I should say. It's really not like
Just unfair.
Yeah.
Some things we can't control.
It's
That is
always
fair.
hit or miss.
Never
But
miss, I guess I never miss.
shut the fuck up. But yeah,
Damn, that is.
no, I agree with that because what? I did okay in high school. I didn't take as many APs. I finished with pre-cal as my highest math class. But when I applied to college, once the applications rolled around, I applied to 4 to 5 UCs, and then SDSU was my safe. I got into UCSD.
See, he's better than me, bro.
Yeah.
Already. You don't need to go to Harvard for math. You just need to do pre-cal and you'll get into UCSD.
UCSD, and then Berkeley.
Bro.
Berkeley.
Yo,
He's
what
shooting
the...
high.
All of pre-cal. I was like, damn.
Bruh.
But
just better.
Yeah.
I don't even know
I got clapped.
how they accepted me because I remember one of my personal insight questions. I opened with the first line. Go back to your country, you ching chong.
Oh,
That's what I opened
What
with.
a nice line.
Right?
why is
Yeah.
that an opening?
Because it was like, how did you contribute to your community? And then I took that line and I turned it into a way that I could show how like, oh, the racism that, you know, we have to deal with. The racism and how I didn't want it to continue up until high school. And with that, I started a club,
What was the club?
Positivity.
Oh,
So-
yes, yes.
Basically, positive vibes while drinking tea.
Nice.
Oh,
Super
fun.
chill club.
Yeah,
Nice.
but kind of like APO, but
kind of like it.
kind of. We did a little bit of service. We had, turkey hands. So we would do turkey hands. We did snowflakes at one point. And
Nice.
then we had this thing called take a cup, pass a cup. So we would table at like in the halls, where we had like about 7 cups already pre-written with like kind messages, and then we had another set of all blanks. So if you would want like a cup of tea or a cup of juice, you would take a blank cup, you write a kind message, then you take already pre-written, and it would cycle through and through and through. Yeah.
That's so big brain. Can you make a service event for that?
Oh,
for the
okay,
campus?
That'd be so cute. Yeah.
Set that up next semester.
If you have the budget for tea.
Yikes.
Just go to
Kidding.
Costco.
I don't think so.
Pre-packaged tea, like, or make your own tea.
We'll make something happen.
Arizona.
Arizona tea.
Arizona. Cheap.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I would say, like, I wouldn't say, like, hearing y'all guys' story, I'm like, especially Koi's, I'm like, God damn.
Toys is crazy.
But I was always the quiet kid in high school. I was also, like, a big guy in high school as well. And, like, I did, like, some AP just, like, I came from first immigrant parents, and they don't necessarily know what stuff is. And, like, I call myself an only child, even though I have, like, other 4 half-brothers, but my parents would always describe them as bad influences, because they would do, like, they would skip school, or, like, they do underage drinking and stuff like that. So I was technically raised like an only child. So I didn't necessarily know what to do in high school or like beyond.
Yeah.
So I just follow what my high school friends did, and I was just like a lamb to them. I was just following them, and I didn't know what I truly wanted. I just wanted to be successful to my parents' eyes. So I did get good grades. I did things. So I did like cross country in high school and track and field. Then after that, I also did like band in like middle school, but I realized band is not my thing. Even though my band teacher would always be like, Josh, you're really good. Like, apparently, especially in elementary school as well, I played the flute.
Oh, okay.
And my band teacher at the time said, damn, you're really good. If you go to like this, because he was partnered with a program, and like it was for little kids. He's like, if you like sight read this and like play really good, you could play with the adults. That's how good I was on the flute. And I didn't believe it.
Dang,
So I was like,
bummer.
it's okay. But transitioning to middle school, I decided to play French horn. And apparently I was also good at French horn, and I didn't believe it, because like there was this person I remember playing in like a concert. I was playing, and then they were like, someone's off tune, and I assumed that it was me, but it wasn't me. So like I was just telling myself, I'm off tune, I'm not good. So I gave up band. Then I went to cross country. I'm like, you're the slowest person here, even though you like run like 6 minute miles, and that's slow.
Yeah. Those guys are cracked. They're doing like 4 minutes, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there was a person, top runner. He like ran a 3, like we do 3 miles, and he ran a 3 mile in like 15 minutes.
Oh yeah.
I'm like,
Fast.
damn, shit.
5 minute a mile.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was able to hold that pace for like a good minute, and then here's me doing like the average like 30-minute mile, and I was the last person.
Dang.
I'm like, how do people do this? So I just decided to just bench myself and be like the manager of the cross country team. And then like my friends eventually started up a esports club. And I'm like, ooh, I like games. I'll be like part of it. I didn't necessarily hold a position, but I was part of someone's committee. I was assisting not only like the president, my like friend, I was also assisting them with like fundraising stuff and marketing stuff. And the thing that I was really proud of, like the successful part of high school, was the esports club for me, because I was able to, like, I asked my teacher like, hey, like we need help. We're literally just quote unquote the Smash Bros club. So like, and we already have a Smash Bros club, so we need like to be out there. And he was like, hey, I could help you write a professional email, and you just hope for the best. He helped me write an email, and we got sponsored by ASUS. And I'm like, so they like sent over 10, like at the time, top of the line computers,
Whoa.
like monitors, peripherals, and the PC itself.
Yeah.
And they had like 2060s inside. And then this is like way before the 3000s came out. So we were just using that to like play League, and like we started up our own team. And then once we graduated, literally after COVID, when everything's starting to settle, they took over the computer lab at school and just reformed it into an esports lab. So like we made like a mark on that school.
Right.
And right now we're like top 3 in Valorant and like League of Legends.
Look at you go.
And I'm like, although we didn't necessarily see it itself, at least we made something.
Right.
And this kind of inspired me to like start something for APO as well.
There you go.
So
Here we
like
are.
podcasts. So hopefully this will get bigger. And as much as I would love to see it grow here, or like be part of it grow, see, if it's like an ongoing tradition or like someone else takes over the podcast and it gets bigger, I will be happy.
Yeah. Of course.
And then high school was
e-board
just
position.
high school was okay. An e-board position, just a new like digital media. That would be public relations though.
Yeah, it's a co-position, so you could help VO.
But yeah, there was just that high school. Like high school was like an interesting time. But then college came with community college. I still didn't know what I wanted. I thought computer science because I passed the AP test, flying colors. I'm like, oh, this is easy. But then I realized my friends were like, you're low-key behind. You're like, you should have took like calc AB or BC like in high school. But there's me with just pre-calc. Or like, not even pre-calc. Like, I took pre-calc for a semester, and then the teacher was god-awful. He just like read the slides,
Yeah.
and then called it a day and like, do your work. So I didn't necessarily learn. So I just like, the next semester I switched over to AP Stats. Still failed the test, but like,
Dang.
because I was like behind, like I didn't know
Yeah.
like the course material itself at the start. And then I'm like, oh, I could still do computer science, but then with the math, I'm like, I felt just not motivated to continue. And like, I learned how oversaturated computer science is and how much connections you need or like a really big ass portfolio. But I'm like, bro, I'm 17 or like I'm like 19. I don't know what to do with like, the only coding I did was just like how to make a character walk left and right.
Right.
And then I'm like, what do I want? So I'm like, entrepreneurship. Like, I want to be something for myself and like I want to help other people, but I don't know how just yet. That's why I chose entrepreneurship, because you could start something somewhere, especially if I pick up something like music or like food. And then here I am, APO.
Nice.
Nice.
That is nice. Well, for personal life, technically we're still revolving around that. So we got to know who you guys are, but like, what are your stomachs? You know, like, so you know, as college students, we definitely need to have a good place to get our backs big. You know, big back.
Yeah.
Oh
And
my
we know-
gosh.
APO has a good handful of big backs.
More than a handful.
I'm sugarcoating it. So, Mr. President, Sergeant at Arms, especially you have a golden palate, low-key. You have a golden palate.
I'm
How's it
picky.
cooked?
I'm a little snobby with my food.
So, for non-San Diegan locals, that is especially you from Riverside, what are some places you are extremely fond of here in San Diego? And if you could recommend anything, Mr. Sergeant at Arms, if you could recommend anything to like koi if he somehow likes it.
I don't know. I'm a big fan of ramen, so I would recommend Menya Ultra.
Yeah, Menya is good. I think
Menya's good.
Menya has to be the best one.
I had menu the first time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago.
UTC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That was good.
Not bad.
Mom works there.
I didn't see mom.
What?
No, she wasn't working.
Yeah, all the times that I went to Menya Ultra, I always see Jaden over there.
Really?
So as you probably know, I'm pretty snobby with my food. I like to gatekeep. Unfortunately, I hate that because I did give away one spot before, and now that place is packed, and I don't go there anymore.
Really?
No. It's it was a
That's
Japanese diner, and it was really yummy. But so I'll give you like what I think is good but popular. Like definitely poke, etc. is up there. I went to Hawaii not too long ago, and it tastes pretty similar to each other. So that's pretty good. Poke, etc. Anthony, you have anything other than Menya?
Well, I wouldn't recommend a buffet, but that
buffet.
went out of business a
Buffet.
long time ago.
Hometown buffet?
Yeah.
For its price, it's honestly worth, even though the food quality is obviously just bad. But like,
I like the ham there, so I was like,
good memories.
Ham is
though.
crazy.
they're with ham.
Like Koi's like, what the hell is a hometown buffet?
Shanxi Magic Kitchen. It's not bad. That one's pretty good. Their tomato egg pasta noodles are pretty good. I'm trying to think. What can I give away that's like popular?
All I
Give
know is
like
ramen.
boba places, anything.
Oh God, boba here
oh.
in America sucks, guys. It's so bad. If you know my scale from 0 to 10, all the boba places I've had in San Diego, or I mean most of America, has been lower than like 5.
Really?
It does
Honestly,
not pass.
I could
5.
actually agree with that now. I could agree with that.
Did you have boba in Asia?
No, I went
or-
to Boba. Canada's actually
Oh
significantly better.
yeah. Mhm.
But like, it probably doesn't compare to Asia. But I'm like, anything like in Canada that I had was really good. Like my mans took me to a ramen place like at night, and it was like after a concert, I think, and he was like, "Hey, don't get your hopes up. I'm just really hungry. I'm gonna take you to a ramen place. It's like really mid." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm not gonna get my hopes up. I just want food as well." So we went. Wait, no, it wasn't ramen. It was pho. And he said, "Yeah, it was mid to him." And I literally just took my first bite. I was like, "Why is this better than San Diego?"
Yeah, Canadian pho is not bad. I actually went there last month and it was pretty good.
Right.
It was not bad.
I'm like, guys, why is San Diego that bad?
Yes,
It's pretty bad.
San Diego food is not that great. I know like some people, are, like mostly Asian Americans, really like the food.
Panda
They're like,
Express.
oh god, yeah, but
I know
there's
someone here likes Panda Express a lot.
It's the only other good choice here.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is fair.
But there is a milk tea place, not around here, but up in Garden Grove area. So an hour and 15. I make this drive for this milk tea. That's how good it is. It's in the sevens.
Really?
Really?
So it's a Vietnamese milk tea chain. It's called Phuc Long, but I call it Phuc Long. And there's only 2 in America.
Yeah.
Oh.
One in
Yeah,
Garden
yeah.
Grove and one in like San Jose or something like that. But this milk tea is really good. I always get the oolong milk tea, and literally PHUC space long. So good. If you're ever up in Irvine, Garden Grove, it's worth the try, and it's really good.
Damn. Maybe
Yeah,
we should get something.
it'll absolutely destroy all the milk teas you've ever had because it's so strong. It's so good. It's like super dark oolong milk tea with condensed milk. So good.
But what's your thoughts on like omomo or like the typical APO boba yun tea?
Oh god. I'm so used to bad boba nowadays that I'm just like, yeah, I guess it's good, but it's not good if I remember what I've had before. But I mean, yeah, omomo is the best one, but it's still, if on the koi scale, it's like still a high 4.
What do you for obviously APO people know what the koi scale is, but for our non-APO people, like hopefully our viewers, What is the koi scale?
Yeah, for those that don't know, I'm a snob, like for food, really hard. I have the scale 0 to 10 with decimal points about food, and I rate everything I eat mentally, subconsciously. 0 to 4 is like your typical food. It doesn't mean this is bad. It's just there's so much more out there. So like fast food will be 0 to 4. So for example, McDonald's would be in the 2s, or Chick-fil-A is in the high 3s or low 4s. Depends on the day too, but those are typical. Denny's would be in the 3s, you know, like stuff like that. 3s and 4s. In and out, high 3s. Chick-fil-A is better. So, you know, just to give you like an image of what 0 to 4 is like, 5, 6 is like your typical restaurant. If you go out with APO at like a restaurant somewhere, like a pho restaurant or something like that, usually in 5 or 6s. 7s is like nice, good places that I try to gatekeep. 7 or higher, I gatekeep. I don't tell people about that. I gave away a low 7 once, and it got packed.
Wow.
So, and then 8 is a place where I would drive really far to, hour and a half, 2 hours, no problem. I'll go there, and if I'm in that city with a friend, I'll take them there, no matter what. Like Andrew, you've had an 8.3 before. What are your thoughts on an 8.3?
Oh, dude, it was so good. Hillary and I were up there recently. I think it was over winter break.
Yeah.
And we were like, fuck.
What's the name?
We were like, what was the name? So we went back on Apoon to look at what it was.
No way.
It was on Apoon?
Yeah, it was a spontaneous
It
dinner.
was so fucking good.
Yeah.
I remember showing Jacob that place. He took one bite of his fried rice, leaned back in his chair, exhaled really loudly, and he was like, "Oh,
Bro,
it's gonna
I
be
wish I
good."
was- you should low-key tell me.
I'm taking my Alpha Theta class there next week for our retreat. But
They're gonna love it.
Yeah, 9 is like I'll fly to.
Really?
There are restaurants that I know that are in other states that I would 100% fly to, and that's 9. And 10 is, I've only had 2 of these in my life, but 10 is where I just can't imagine anything better. And that's like being really harsh. Like I drink it, eat it, whatever, and I'm like, wow, I literally cannot imagine anything better. And that's a 10.
So even like other people's cooking, right? So let's say
Yeah.
you would
Like,
rate it as
anything
well.
I eat. Yeah.
What would you rate like your mom's cooking, if you ever had, or like the maid's cooking?
She's in the 6s. Sorry, mom.
Damn.
My maids were cracked. They were high 7s. So I think growing up with maids really shaped my snobbiness with food, because they really spoiled me. Whatever I wanted to eat, they'd cook it, and it's so good, so good. So
Maybe I should get some maids. Some shit.
Maids is crazy.
and yeah, that's also why I got a job as a cook for weddings, because I originally got hired as a dishwasher. And it was my first day at this company, and I was washing dishes in the corner. And you know, weddings, they have hundreds of plates and whatever. So I was just by myself, AirPods in, just washing away, and my hands are like all wrinkly, and it's so gross. I would never do that again. But I just had to. And then there's this cook running around with a spoon of mashed potatoes. And I was like, that's weird. What is he doing? And he came up to me. He was like, here, new guy, try this. Try my mashed potatoes. And I was like, oh, why? And he was like, in a kitchen, you always have to let everyone try your food so that it's good to send out. And I was like, oh, sure. Yeah, I'll try your mashed potatoes. And he was like, be honest. And I was like, okay. I ate it. And I was like, it tastes a bit grounded. I think you need more milk and salt. His face dropped. He turns around and walks away. And I was like,
Did the dishwasher say that?
I was like, fuck. Like, as a dishwasher, I just shat on this guy's food, and he's mad, and it's my first day. I'm screwed. I'm gonna get fired. And then he came back, and he was like, I just talked to head chef, and we're gonna make you a cook tomorrow, because there's only been 3 people in this kitchen who has said anything about my mashed potatoes: head chef, sous chef, and you. And I was like, dang.
He's
I
like,
was
he has
like-
a tongue.
I have the god tongue. Kidding.
Voice is crazy.
But yeah, I came in the next day, and they were looking for a new dishwasher, and I started cooking, and they teach me everything.
That's sort of like,
Yeah. So all summer I was a cook for weddings.
Damn. maybe you should honestly fellowship.
Fellowship? Well,
Koi cooks. There's literally just like I can't even say much. Like I'm a cook.
Same.
Yeah, Panda Express. But like the only notable things I'm like, oh yeah, like the food looks good. But like you only could do so much with Panda Express.
Yeah.
But like whenever I cook for some reason, especially like closing, there's this one guy that comes in and he's like, dude, whatever you do to your like steak, like it's really good. I'm like, I don't see the difference. But then I decided to like look over like what did they do? It's literally just like because Panda Express wants it to be like perfect portion. So like if you put like
It's a
cup,
formula. There's a
like,
formula made already.
Yeah, if you do a cup, it has to be exactly a cup.
Yeah.
It can't be like a cup 0.2.
Yeah.
But I literally do like a cup 0.5.
Oh.
But like it just adds that. And like whenever someone's like, Josh, why is your cooking better than other people? I'm like, because I make it with love. No, I just like over batch the ingredients.
Yeah,
like, it's just the small things. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But like I do like cooking. Like even though I hate working at Panda Express with a burning passion, like cooking in itself is just really nice because it's relaxing and like seeing people smile at your own cooking. It's like very endearing.
It's a good feeling.
It is a good.
I'm sure Andrew would know
Dude,
working at
the
a
best
sushi restaurant.
feeling as a cook is as a cook, I do like everything at the restaurant. So I
Yeah.
bus, cook, everything. So when I switch between cooking and busing, when I see someone come back with a clean plate, that makes me feel so good.
Yeah, that's a good feeling.
Hell, even Jollibee. Like, when I worked at Jollibee, even though I'm just like breading fried chicken or just like doing whatever, just seeing people be like, "Damn, you made this," or like, just like people finishing your food, it just tickles me for some reason.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a good feeling for sure.
have you ever cooked for anybody, Anthony? You should cook for us.
well, I did cook for my parents once. They said, don't ever cook again. So, like, I don't really have that kind of experience with you guys, like, feeling glad about my cooking. So, maybe in the future I'll try again, but for now, not really.
What's the best thing you cooked so far?
There was this lobster bisque that I made once for my mom's birthday. It was her 50th, and I told her I'd make her a 3-course meal.
No.
But the appetizer, the lobster bisque, stole the show.
Really?
I got a bunch of like shrimp and like crabs and oysters and stuff like clams, and I just started cooking it, and it was super seafoody, and it was just so good. That bisque, it was like a low 7. So I'm not a good cook. Like I'm not a crazy cook, you know. Like
Gordon
I'm
Ramsay.
honest. Like most of my cooking is like mid 5s to 6s, but that bisque was a 7, which was I was proud of that bisque.
Damn, you should make it again.
I don't even know how. I forgot.
Damn.
But yeah, I had to like cook the shells, and I was extracting flavor from these shells, and the water that it was cooking in, it started to turn like red, and it was like so good.
Damn.
Yeah.
Food science go crazy, actually. What about you, Andrew?
Let's see. I think the best thing that I've made would be over winter break. Because we don't have a kitchen in the dorms. We have a communal. It's fucking shit. It's so gross. But made do with what I had. I made Thai peanut noodles.
There
I
you go.
Side of broccoli and steak on top.
Yum. Oh, I'm so hungry.
I give that a
Back
4.
after this.
Nice.
Damn. Dog, that reminds me of like, have you seen like the TikToks where like a guy just makes like steak at a college dorm or something?
Yeah,
And, like,
yeah.
Gordon Ramsay just rates. He's like, that's
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
fire for a college student at a dorm. I'm like, I wish I could do that, but like, I think for the best thing that I cooked, there's a difference between cooking and baking, but I do like both. For cooking, I made like, it was Filipino food. I like slow cook like beef. Yeah, I slow cook beef, and then I was just like, it was like a soup, and like when I pulled out the beef and like put everything together, the beef was just shredded. And then I'm like,
That's a good feeling.
oh my god. And then I gave it to my parents, and then just seeing they're like, damn, you actually made this? Because they would always like kick me out of the kitchen if I'm doing something like as a kid, and doing it as an adult, I'm like, oh, they're probably gonna kick me out of the kitchen. And I did something nice for my parents for once, and they're like, that's really good. Like, where did you learn that? I'm like,
Nice.
I watched you guys cook, but I made it better. I like improving people's things, especially if it like needs to like, even if it's just like, oh, it needs a little bit more salt, and it'll actually be good. And then that's what I did. I just put my sugars and spices or whatever, and it made my parents happy. I'm like, oh wow. But for the thing that I baked, it was for a Christmas party a long time ago. I think it was like 2 years. Actually, that's not long, but like it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I made like a really hard French dessert. It was called a croquembouche. And like, imagine like, it's not necessarily cream puffs, but like how I would describe it is like, it's like these, cream puffs.
Yeah.
And then making the cream puffs and then actually filling it in with the cream itself. That cream was so good. Oh my god. Like, it was really good. Like, when you put it in your mouth, like the ball wasn't crummy or like it just everything melted. And like the hard part of it was the decoration, like the garnish and stuff. I had to like melt some sugar and like just circle it around, and like if you don't make it like the right temperature, it's just gonna look like flat. But I made it like to the point where like the sugar looks like strings around it, and then I presented it to like the Christmas party, and everybody's like, how the fuck did you do that? Like, you should belong in the kitchen, and that's where I belong in the kitchen.
Nice.
No, we need Anthony to cook something though.
You want to see my cook? All right.
Practice.
Beef Wellington?
Beef Wellington. Oh, that's I'll just have like 911 on speed dial just for you guys.
That was
just
a
in
little
case,
tough.
yeah, just in case something happens.
The
Have you
baking
guys
part
been
is
to
hard.
like
Yeah.
Hell's Kitchen in Las Vegas?
I haven't
No.
had that
No?
one yet.
Have you?
I was close, but then we decided to just get McDonald's.
Oh, what
That's what I'm
the?
saying.
It's right there.
I know.
But it's like $80. I'm like, bro.
Okay,
And
you're
like,
already in Vegas.
I
Exactly.
need Gordon Ramsay himself to cook me something. That's all I gotta say. Like, Gordon, you need to cook me something. Well, unfortunately, this is all the time that we have for today.
Bummer.
For A-Pod.
Sad.
So thank you, Coy and Anthony. He just appeared out of nowhere. But thank you for coming over for our first episode and sharing your insights about APO and like your personal stories and like other pieces of advice for our viewers.
And for the people watching or listening, thank you for dropping by, and we will see you next week's episode.
So, we're starting this thing. Mr. President, would you like to do the honors in closing the podcast, how you close GBMs and like how we close pledge meetings?
What?
Okay. All right. You got this.
So, you know, the typical in leadership,
Oh
friendship,
my
and service.
gosh. All right.
Yeah, man.
In leadership and friendship bound by a single tie, may Alpha Delta chapter ever stand united. I now pronounce this podcast episode duly adjourned. Woo! Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.